Aloha, this is Deep.
Hi, my friend. I'm Ariel, and today we're going to be talking about 7 things you should know if you're selling property in Hawaii.
Perfect. Okay, why don't we start with the first one?
The first and most important thing is about who your agent's going to be. So the first thing is make sure you're hiring an agent that actually knows the market, not just the cheapest agent that you see around that, because a lot of people say things to you in hopes to get your listing, but after you sign, then it's another story. So can you touch a little bit on that, Deep?
Yes, absolutely. We've been seeing more than often nowadays where sellers will ask us, hey, what's the commission? Or will you discount your commission? Oh, somebody is paying us, somebody is charging us only this much, or a couple of grand, or 2%, 1.5%. But again, is it about what you are saving, or is it about what you're getting in your pocket? Right. End of the day, you save 5,000 in commission, and you get 10, 20, or sometimes 40, 50,000 less in your pocket, which is your bottom line. And did you really save anything after that? Her and me, we met somebody like 2 days ago. Yeah, one of the owners, we met him actually for a different property which he was looking to buy. So we were going to help him buy one in Oahu, and he was selling one in Big Island. And he was so upset. He said, hey, Deep and Ariel, we've been in escrow for 60 days and the buyer is canceling on us. Okay, first thing, you are under contract with somebody else. We cannot say anything or recommend anything. Go talk to your agent. But what happened? He's like, hey, first we asked him, why did you hire your agent? Did they give you a discount or anything? But he said no, they were paying for cleaning and they were paying for staging. That's why I hired them. So our question was, did you interview other agents? Because at the end of the day, you want to know who's representing you. Are they experienced enough? It's like, oh no, since they were paying for cleaning and staging, I thought that's a good deal. Well, apparently 60 days later, it's not such a good deal.
Now the house is not clean anymore.
Exactly. And he was doing a 1031 exchange and now losing out on a good deal on the other side. So sometimes, we get carried away because it's cheaper, but cheaper is not always better.
Yeah, just to get into this too, there are multiple parts of a transaction. So first you gotta see, can this person find a buyer? And once they find a buyer, can they keep the buyer? Because during the transaction, you gotta make sure every party is happy. And if, let's say, the agent did their best to keep the buyer and it still didn't work, can they protect you as the seller in the instance that the buyer was to cancel? Are they aware? Because here in Hawaii, as we know, they protect the buyers a lot. So there are like 7+ ways the buyer can back out of a contract. And your agent, even though they're the listing agent, they have to be aware of that, because you gotta know the next move of the other party to protect you and your client's best interest.
Exactly. That's why when you are a seller, you should understand the purchase contract, which is the contract on the buyer side that buyer send you and you accept. There are 7 ways they can cancel. Another thing is, being a seller or selling a property is more of a chess. You need to understand the other side's next step before a previous step or current step is properly complete. That's why where an experienced agent come into play, where like us, we repeatedly do sales so many times, we know what's coming. And when a buyer throws something at us, we understand where this is going and how it can end up, where it can end up. So based on our past experience, we can see where it's headed and control properly. And at the end of the day, the goal is to get you the top dollar, sell your house in the least amount of time, hassle-free, with the most amount of money in your pocket. If that's what you're looking for, then you should interview multiple agents and go for the most value and not the cheapest price.
Yes, and I kind of skipped it a little bit, but Can they keep the buyer? But the other thing is, can they find a buyer properly? Because a lot of agents will tell you they can list, let's say your house is worth 900,000. They will tell you, oh, no problem, Deep. I will list it for $1 million. It's gonna sell. Once you sign that listing, and many times you're locked in for 3-6 months, and they see, oh, Deep has to sell. He's gonna move to Texas, for example. They see that you're locked in, then they will come back and tell you, oh, I'm so sorry, we really thought it was gonna sell for 900, but I guess it's not gonna sell, and then you're gonna come back on your price. So did you really save in your commission, or really netting the most amount of money, bottom line? Probably not, which is why if we're talking to you, we're gonna be upfront and honest with you from day one. If we think based on data that your property is worth 900 and you want $1 million, we're gonna tell you, listen, John, your house, from what we've seen, it's worth $1 million. You want to try 900? If you want to try it for $1 million, it may not sell. Do you still want to do it? If not, we may not be the best fit, because we don't want to waste your time and have a bad reputation as well.
Exactly. And one of the examples would be, we sat down with one seller 2 days ago. They wanted to list it for 1.125, 1,125,000. But realistically, the value, the price was somewhere around 1,025,000. So they were off by 100,000. So we were upfront, told them, hey, I know you want 1.125, which is your expectation, where the price should have been a year ago when the rates were 2.25. But today, realistically, it's 1,025,000. And they were like, hey, that's significantly less than what others are telling us. But we were like, okay, I understand. But this is the truth, where the house will sell at this price, more than likely. Now, can you get more? Of course. But is there a possibility that it might not sell for anything over that? Very likely, because the sales have been coming down recently. Sale price have been coming down recently. And that's more realistic number. And we were upfront and honest. Were we not?
Now, the next point I want to touch on is setting a timeline of when you want to have the property sold. Let's say you're moving from Hawaii to Texas and you have to be there in April. So you got to know exactly when you're going to have to be there, so we can strategize our strategy. Can you touch a little more on the strategy?
Yes, absolutely. So if you are to move out of Hawaii in April, or need the house sold in April, so based on number of days, how long it takes to find a buyer and how you want to price it, plus the time of escrow, which is the transaction period, we will come up with a strategy. Should you put it on the market in February, January, or sometimes based on our strategy, we will go now. We'll put on the market now without counting it towards your days on the market. And we have our few strategies which we used in the past that has helped our sellers get top dollar, basically almost no stress, and still get the top dollar and move out on time. And there are a few things we do differently. So there are few things that can be done to play with your timeline. However, it is very important to set a timeline and a set month, I would say, not a fixed date, right, but a month at least of when the house needs to be sold.
Because the last thing you want is, oh, next week you're moving, the house hasn't sold, you're stressed out, there's so much to do in your move, you have to buy a house elsewhere. Mm-hmm. If you have a timeline, there are even ways that you can sell the property while you're still here and still stay on the property. So you have the money in your pocket to buy something else, and you can transition without having to move multiple times. So everybody has a different situation. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a comment here or an email. We're going to add our information in the description of the video, because every property is different. If your property is $2 million, we'll have to have a different strategy than if your property is $500,000, because they all have different days on the market. And even similar price points in different neighborhoods also have different days on the market, different buyer pool, different strategy. So just talk to us and I'll be more than happy to sit down and go over strategy with you.
Yeah, and also to add to that, whatever your timeline is, we will walk you through the process. And we have done it multiple times. We recently had a client who has 4 kids, 2 dogs, and they were moving from here to San Antonio. And they said he was high ranking in the military, and he said, "Hey, Deep, because of my position and work, I have very limited time. I am moving in 7 months. I'm moving in 7 months, and I'm buying a house there. What should I do?" We started the process 7 months ahead. He had his check in hand before he actually moved to San Antonio, where the house was ready to close, and zero sweat. So if you want to know more about that story, please reach out to us. We can share. We have a few of those kind of sellers.
The next thing you must know if you're selling property in Hawaii is don't waste your money with useless upgrades. Please don't. Right now, Deep is gonna get more into this, but right now the market's going like this. If you're wasting your time doing upgrades, you may get the same money or less than what you could get right now without doing those upgrades.
Yes, exactly. We have so many of our clients who were lost in, hey, I need the house upgraded, and only then we want to sell. We tried to convince them so much, however, they missed the ride. The market was up here, and they spent thousands of dollars on upgrades, and now the market is here. Now they cannot recoup the money that they spent, plus they lost on all the buyers that we had in the past, and all the money that we could have scored much higher than today's market. So whenever you are upgrading, doing renovations, please think about where you are in the market before you even consider upgrades. Now, upgrades are important, we understand. However, more important is where the market is, what the rates are, and the timing. Time is way more precious and valuable than the upgrades.
Yeah, we'll make a video about the most important upgrades later, and we'll add in here. But for now, I would say just stick to make the house look as presentable as possible. You can also, as always, ask us what our opinion. We'll be happy to do a walkthrough with you, and we'll tell you right then and there if it's worth or not according to your specific situation.
Exactly. And please save time when the market is going down. If the market is going up, please take your time as much as you want. But again, if you're trying to catch the market at its peak, please let us know how you do that, because we are yet to find somebody who can do that. You will be really rich, including us.
Yeah, it's hard to time the market. There are buyers who in 2020 were like, oh, I'm not going to buy it because it's too expensive. Now, imagine now with the interest rates, now they can't buy anything.
Exactly.
So
and then there were sellers who wanted to wait for the prices to go up.
Yes.
And now they have to list the market when the market is coming down. Prices are coming down. Very less buyers out there, and it's taking way longer and harder to sell.
Yeah, don't keep waiting for the peak, because you can miss a good time to sell.
Absolutely.
And next point we want to touch base on that is really important if you want to sell property in Hawaii is set a realistic price for your property. There are different pricing strategies that work for different people. I just want to roughly explain a little bit of them. We can get into more detail with you, but basically you can price it above fair market value, which we definitely do not recommend right now. It was a strategy that we used in the past, like last year, to get top dollar, but it really depends on the state of the market. Right now, as we speak, 2022 November, we don't recommend that strategy. You can price just at the market value, and you could also price below market value.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. There are 3 ways to price the market or price the house: above, at, and below. Now, with pricing it above the market, it totally depends on what kind of market we are in. Back in 2020, 2021, if you are priced higher, the market was going up, so buyers were bidding. More than likely you would have gotten if you were reasonably close. If not, then you might have to wait a couple of months or a year, and the market would have caught up. Perfectly fine when it's going up. When it's going down, you price it high, you give it a month or so, doesn't sell, then you want to reduce the price. Perfectly fine. However, understand when the prices are going down, you're better off pricing it correctly here rather than pricing it correctly down here, right? Because now you're getting much less than what you would have gotten it by pricing it properly in the
Yep.
beginning.
Exactly.
Now, pricing at the market, what is the value of a house? Right? Value of the house is what the buyers are willing to pay for it, and the price that the sellers are willing to accept. Now, if you say, what's the right price of my house? It's going to be a rough estimate. An agent can say, I can get you $950,000 for your house. Possible, but again, will the buyer come in exactly at 950? We don't know. So a rough estimate would be like, hey, anywhere between 930 to 970. So about $30,000-$40,000 range. Now that's within the market range where you are like, okay, I'm not leaving anything on the table, and I'm not priced too high. So if it's a couple of thousand off the buyers, I'm still going to attract enough buyers to put offer in my house. The third strategy is, I've seen many agents do that, where they're pricing it lower in order to grab a lot of buyers. You're going to have a lot of buyers, multiple offers potentially, and the plan is to bid it up to the market value, if not higher. Perfectly fine strategy. However, again, depending on the market, many times I've seen where the intent was to bid it up, but didn't happen.
Yeah, that's the problem with that strategy. You're at
Exactly.
the risk of, you may or may not get it. So I think the main point on that is, how much lower are you
Exactly.
going? Are you going like slightly low, or are you going ridiculously low?
Yeah.
So,
and in that, I've seen both scenarios where you were slightly lower and you left some money on the table. Then there are other agents who want to price ridiculously low with an intent to grab buyers.
Yeah.
But it's benefiting the agent, not the seller. In our case, more than likely we want to price it at market.
Fair
market value. Exactly. So those are the three things that you need to keep in mind when you're pricing your property or your house. And good luck to you.